the Degree Apprenticeship Strategy Guide for New Year 12s. In this video, I'm going to give you the step-by-step strategy for getting into a degree apprenticeship as a Year 12 student. Who is this guide for? This is for Year 12 students who are just starting in September 2024. You're going to be taking your A-levels or some other exams at the end of Year 13 in about June 2026. And you're looking to apply for degree apprenticeships, which are going to start in September 2026. And by the way, just respect to you for investing in your future, because this is a long way in advance. It's like a year, 1.5 years, 2 years in advance. You're watching this video. So just respect to you for doing that. Basically, the more you prepare in advance, this is really good what you're doing. So basically, the more of this video that you watch and take on board, the more successful you're going to be in your degree apprenticeship applications. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, what I'm going to teach you in this video was the exact strategy I followed throughout Year 12 and Year 13 to get 8 degree apprenticeship offers myself. Okay, it's also the exact strategy I teach my students to help them get degree apprenticeships in the engineering, technology, and finance industries. Here's some of the people I helped last year get into degree apprenticeships with companies like JLR, Amazon, KPMG, Rolls-Royce, IBM, just to name a few. Without further ado, let's get into this video, the Degree Apprenticeship Strategy Guide for New Year 12s. These are the 5 steps you need to follow. Okay, let's start off with step 1, okay, shadow. And this is what you're going to be doing from September Year 12 to roughly March of Year 12. So the first 6 months of Year 12, this is what you want to focus on, okay? How should I put this? The degree apprenticeship application process is chaotic. I think chaotic is the right word for it. It's a lot all over the place, okay? All of the applications are with different companies, so it's not like UCAS with university where you just apply to one you put in one application and just 5 universities, personal statement, you get sent off. With degree apprenticeship, it's completely different. It's separate for each company. Each company does a different application process. They do it at different times. They host them on different websites. It's all over the place. It's very chaotic. This is why, because you're thinking about degree apprenticeships a year early, which is really good, it means you can actually start following this application process a year in advance. Okay, and this is going to make you really well prepared for Year 13, because it's going to be Year 13 when you actually come to do these applications. But if you're following this application process a year in advance in Year 12, you're going to become much more familiar and you're going to know what's going on with degree apprenticeship. So, for example, in Year 13, because the applications are so chaotic, some degree apprenticeships open at random times, some don't pop up on this website, some pop up on these websites. It's really easy to miss when a company does its applications. Applications are really competitive, so when they open their applications, they can actually close pretty soon because they got so many applications. If you miss it, then you've missed it. This is why it's great you're looking at it in Year 12, because it means you can sort of shadow this application process and make yourself a plan for next year, like you're prepared basically. So what I'd recommend is in Year 12, follow what's going on, create a tracker spreadsheet for the companies you might be interested in, and start making notes of when they open. Okay, oh, this one opens at the start of December, this one opens at the end of December, this one was super early in like September, this one was really late in March, right? And then it means next year you're not going to miss anything because you now know the timetable of when these companies open their degree apprenticeship. You know KPMG do it then, you know JLR do it then, you know Amazon do it then, you know Rolls-Royce do it then, right? Another important thing is to save the job descriptions. So these job descriptions aren't available all the year round. These job descriptions are only available during the application process, so basically during the months of like November, December, January, and February. And these job descriptions are one of the most important documents you can have if you're interested in getting into a degree apprenticeship. Because these job descriptions are going to have sections called like required skills, desired skills, responsibilities, desirable traits. And what those are, they are literally essentially like a mark scheme. Like you think of it like an A-level paper. When you do like A-levels or GCSEs, they're always like use the mark scheme so you can check what like the model answer is. These job descriptions are effectively the model answer for who they are going to employ. You look at these job descriptions under desirable skills. It says we want someone who can collaborate, team working, can use Microsoft programs, has in-person work experience at a design office, and has delivered a presentation to people before. It then means you then have a year to tick off exactly those things, right? And then it means you can become basically the ideal candidate for them. Does that make sense? Okay. The problem is if you wait until Year 13, you then see the job description. It says it wants X, Y, Z, but you only have 1 week to apply. You're probably not going to be able to do those things, okay? But now you have a year in advance to plan what you're doing to become an attractive candidate. This is what I was doing. I basically followed all the application processes through Year 12. I knew exactly at what time of year each company would open. I was saving the job descriptions. Like by saving, I mean like save them as a PDF so you have a copy, because they'll like take them offline once the application process is over. And it basically meant I could work out what to do. So there was one job that I was applying to that I saw that it wanted in-person work experience at either a construction site or a design office. I made sure I got that. I went and got that work experience. I ended up getting the job. Okay, and then this same one, it also wanted you to have delivered a presentation before. That was like in the job description. It says desirable traits or desirable experience, have delivered a presentation before. I made sure I delivered a presentation, I ended up getting that job. Okay, so that's why this shadow stage is so effective, because it means you can really basically plan how to become the ideal candidate for them, because that's how you get the job. If they're looking for a candidate, you're the ideal candidate, they're going to get you, they're going to hire you. Okay, that's how you get a degree apprenticeship. So that is step one, shadow. Okay, and then you'll end up having, however you do it, like a tracker spreadsheet, a bunch of notes, whatever it is, and all these different companies. Basically, two key things. Number one, what time do they open? So you like have a schedule for next year. And then number two, what specific things they're looking for, so you can focus on that over the next year. So, for example, Amazon, in part of their application, process, they actually have a bit where they test you on SQL. That's really important to know. If you learn that in year 12, it means you now have a whole year basically to learn SQL, so you're ready for that stage in the Amazon application process. That's just an example for you, but that's the kind of like notes you can make, Excel spreadsheet, whatever it may be. Okay, step two is focus. Okay, this is going to be from roughly March of year 12 until about June of year 12. So with my students last year, this is just the results of a poll. I was asking them about year 12 mocks, okay, and it looks like from the results here, everybody has year 12 mocks. Okay, there was no one who voted that they didn't have mocks. So most people have mocks after May half term, a couple of people after Easter and February, but it looks like everyone has year 12 mocks. Okay, let me tell you what happened to sort of the people in my year during year 12 when I went through sixth form. Okay, because you might not have experienced this yet. Basically, year 12 mocks came around Easter, May half term, whatever. A lot of people didn't try. Okay, they didn't bother. Like, you were probably aware of that from mocks before, like maybe year 10 mocks, year 11 mocks. A lot of people just don't really care about mocks, right? So that they just didn't revise, did whatever, ended up getting kind of bad grades they didn't want, okay? And if you're doing year 7 mocks or year 9 mocks, year 10 mocks, that doesn't really matter. Like, who really cares at the end of the day? But with year 12 mocks, it's completely different. And the reason for that is because your UCAS predicted grades are based on what you get in year 12 mocks. Okay, and I'm not sure if people knew that in like my year or not, but it meant a lot of people didn't bother with their year 12 mocks, didn't really try, didn't get the grades they wanted, but they didn't really care. But it meant they then got UCAS predicted grades which were lower than what they wanted. So maybe they wanted to like go to a university where you needed like three A's or an A star and 2 A's or something, but in their mocks they'd got a couple of B's, a couple of C's or something. It meant they didn't have the predicted grades to go to that university. And what it meant was, for a lot of people, they then had to spend the rest of year 12 and the start of year 13 tryharding, right? Because they had to say their predicted grades, they got given A, B, C, and they wanted like an A star and 2 A's. They had to prove to the teachers that they deserved the 3 A's or the A star and 2 A's or whatever it is. They had to prove that by doing things like resitting the exams. They might do that in September. Things like doing extra assignments, extra coursework, so you can prove to the teachers that you deserve those predicted grades. And it meant there were quite a lot of people who then basically spent the rest of the year 12, summer and the start of year 13, doing a whole load of work, okay, to basically make up for the fact that they'd got bad grades in their year 12 mocks and they had bad UCAS predicted grades. Okay, so that's what I'm saying here. A lot of people don't bother, and there end up being consequences from it. This is what I did. I did the complete opposite. I tried really hard for my mocks, okay? I did the amount of revision that I needed to do to make sure that I got the grades I wanted. And this is like a screenshot of the report that I got. I got 3 A stars on my A-level mocks, okay? And what this meant was, for the rest of year 12, I didn't do any work, okay? I did absolutely nothing. For the rest of the summer term, and to be honest, first couple of months of year 13, I did nothing because I didn't need to. I did this. I got my UCAS predicted grades, 3 A stars, perfect. I didn't focus in lessons at all. I was just talking and just having fun with people for basically the rest of the summer. Okay, so there's like a story where I think it was about November time of year 13. We're in physics. The teacher said we were going to have this test on a certain topic called, what is it called? Like harmonic motion. It's just coming back to me. Yeah, it's called simple harmonic motion. It's a long time since I did A-level physics, but it's something like that, harmonic motion. I had absolutely no idea what that was. Okay, I literally hadn't heard it. I was like, it was like, we got this test in a week, and I was like, I have no idea what this even is. I go and have a look back at like what we've been doing over the past couple of months. Turns out we went through this whole topic in June, okay, in June of year 12. I didn't even know it happened because I had completely not focused for the whole summer term. Okay, that I didn't even know this topic had happened. Like, I didn't remember a single thing from it. It wasn't even ringing a bell anywhere, okay? And that was a good thing, right? Well, I mean, it's probably not a good thing that I wasn't focusing in lessons and that sort of thing. But what I'm saying was, It was fun, right? Because I'd try hard in my mocks, because I'd got the grades I wanted, because I got the predicted grades that I wanted, it meant I didn't really have to try because everything was done. I didn't need to go and do resits, okay? I didn't need to go and do a whole bunch of extra assignments to bump up my predicted grades because I've got the grades I wanted. Okay, and this is why step 2 is focus. Okay, it's focus on your year 12 mocks, get the results you were looking for, get the UCAS predicted grades you want, because then you don't have to worry about resits and extra assignments. Okay, so it's like effectively the investment I did was before my year 12 mocks, I did like, I don't know, let's say 3 weeks of dedicated hard revision to make sure I got my 3A stars. Perfect. What that meant was I then got 5 months of doing no work, not paying any attention or any of that. Everyone else, what they did was, oh, they couldn't be bothered to revise. They just enjoyed the 3 weeks beforehand. Okay, so they enjoyed the 3 weeks, but then they spent 5 months paying for it because it was 5 months of extra assignments, extra coursework, resits, more exams that they had to do to bump up their predicted grades. So it's just sensible. It's a no-brainer. It's like, would you rather have 3 weeks of hard work, 5 months of fun, or like 3 weeks of fun and then 5 months of hard work? Okay, so like this is what you need to do. Year 12 mocks, make sure you focus on them, and then you're going to have a great summer. Okay, that's step 2. Okay, the next step is maximizing. Okay, and this is about what you do with your time. So once you've done well in your mocks, you got the grades you wanted, and you're chilling basically. This is what you can do during that free time when you don't really have any, like you don't have any other pressures because it's all sort of sorted. Because that's what happens once you do year 12 mocks. Like teachers aren't really giving you that much work, and then at the start of year 13 they're not giving you that much work. So if you don't need to do resits or extra assignments, you can basically chill out. So what I'd recommend during this time from about June year 12, October year 13 is just maximize. Okay, with this like few months that you relatively have free from schoolwork, maximize the time you have now to make yourself a better candidate. Okay, this is the most free you will ever be. Okay, because after about October of year 13, once you start getting into November and December, January, February, March, that's when you need to start applying to degree apprenticeship applications. You're probably going to have year 13 mocks. You're then going to have your real A levels. It's like it just goes up from there. So this is like the best time you're ever going to get from June of year 12 to October of year 13. What I'd recommend is using this time that you have free to focus on making yourself a better candidate. Okay, make yourself a really attractive candidate for the degree apprenticeship application process. Things you can be doing here now: work experience, online courses, presentations, volunteering, DFE, webinars, LinkedIn events, things like that, which you're going to be able to put on your CV, put in your application, mention your interviews to show that you'd be a good candidate. Okay, mentioning things like the work experience, the online courses, so you can talk about how you work well within a team, how you can communicate. Okay, and that's what I did. That's what I focused on basically from June to October. I think I did about 2 online courses, did about 3 different presentations, did a couple of webinars. I did maybe 2 virtual work experiences and I think 1 in-person work experience. That's what I'd really recommend making sure you do during that sort of summer of year 12, start of year 13. Here's another checklist which I'd recommend you do. This is like a Notion document. I'll put a link in the description so you can have like a copy of this and then you can tick it off as you go. But this is sort of what I'd recommend you do during this sort of maximize step at the end of year 12 and start of year 13. Okay. Step 4 is apply. Okay, and this is going to start around October. Especially for finance. So finance companies, just to let you know, they start a bit earlier. So those applications start late September, maybe October. But most companies, like engineering, technology, marketing, everything else, that usually starts from November onwards. Okay, but it's going to be around the October, November mark that you're going to have to start applying for these degree apprenticeship applications, and that's going to continue until about March. Okay. First bit of advice for you: apply to 10 plus degree apprenticeships. Okay, there's a lot of people who apply to 1 degree apprenticeship. Like there's one they want. I want to work at Amazon. I apply to 1 degree apprenticeship. You get rejected. Congratulations, you can't go to Amazon now. And now you're probably gonna have to go to university and get into £45,000 of debt because you just applied to 1. It's like degree apprenticeship is super competitive. I'll go into some figures in a second, but degree apprenticeship is super competitive. It's not worth just applying to 1 and getting rejected. You want to apply to 10 plus. I applied to 13. Some people say how they apply to like 30, 40, 50. I'm not necessarily saying you have to do that, but I think definitely 10 plus, and for me, as I said, 13 was a good number for me. As these applications start happening October, November, December, you're probably going to have to start to balance these with year 13 mocks, real A levels. As I said, from that year 12 summer, it basically just gets busier from there. So this is where like the more organized you were during step 3, the easier this time is going to be. Okay, so the more of these things that you got done during that summer, the easier it's going to be. You don't want to be in November or December having to do work experience. You don't want to be in like December or January doing a course. You've got other things to think about. You've got to think about your applications, think about maybe year 13 mocks, your A-levels. You don't want to be doing that. So the more organized you are, and like the more of these that you get done during that sort of June, July, August, September, October period, the easier this is going to be in terms of managing your time. Okay, so a lot of people ask me like, how do you manage like doing degree apprenticeship applications and doing A-levels at the same time? One of the key things is making sure that you're doing everything that's like really time consuming, like doing like a 2 weeks work experience or like a 8-hour course. Make sure you're doing that before you start applying. So in June, July, August, September, October, something like that. And also just the more diligent you are during step 3, the more successful you're going to be. So yeah, it is kind of time consuming to go through that checklist, do the work experience, do a couple of virtual work experience, do a presentation, do a couple of online courses. It is kind of annoying, but I just want to show you these statistics. Degree apprenticeships are hyper competitive, okay, hyper super, very competitive, right? JLR, it's only the top 3% of candidates who get in. JP Morgan, if you go to the finance industry ones are very competitive, top 0.7%. Okay, so you really have to put the work in. You have to be a really good candidate to get into these. You can't just half do it. You can't do like, oh, I won't do any work experience, I won't do any online courses and still expect to get a degree apprenticeship. You need to be a killer, because there's people who are like killers. They've got like me in the degree apprenticeship application process. I had like 5 or 6 work experience on my belt. I'd done 4 online courses, and I delivered like 4 presentations. One of the presentations, I'd like given talks to like 200 people, right? I've got these awards that I got from school. I'm like grade 8 in this instrument, right? It's like that's who you're up against, people like that. So you want to make sure that you've got these work experience down, you've got these online courses down, this sort of thing. The more of those things that you check off from step 3 in that Notion checklist, the more successful you're going to be, because you need to get in the top 1%, really. This is like the brutal truth. I could just say, oh yeah, degree apprenticeships are really easy to get into it, just go and apply and you'll get it. It's like, no, you do have to put the work in, okay? Let's move on to step 5 now, achieve. Okay, this is going to start from about March year 13, go to June year 13. So by March, you're going to likely have secured all your degree apprenticeships. Okay, and this is like a really good thing about the degree apprenticeship application process, is it's probably all done by March. So this is like a screenshot of, like I had like an Excel spreadsheet which tracked all of my applications. This is like my one. This was just showing you when I received my offers. So I received a couple at the end of February, a couple more in March, and then some in April, one in May, and I think I received another one in June as well. But like a lot of them, by March, you'll have probably had 1 or 2, like a couple of degree apprenticeships secured if you've been successful, okay? What that means is you can completely forget about degree apprenticeship applications from then, and you can focus on your A-levels, okay? It's not like you're having to do your degree apprenticeship applications during May and June when you have A-levels. For most of them, they're done by February and March. You can just focus on your A-levels. Now, the only thing you need to do now, because you've successfully got the offer, is achieve the required grades, okay? Because degree apprenticeships, they all come with required grades. But what's great is another bonus for you with degree apprenticeships, the grades are usually lower than everyone else is going to university. Okay, so you have people like you'll find this out when you go into your A-levels in year 13 in a couple of years' time. You're going to be walking into that exam hall with people who need, and maybe it's you as well, okay, so maybe you're considering university and degree apprenticeships, but you're definitely going to be walking into that exam hall with people who literally going in there who need like 3 A stars or 2 A stars and A or something like that. They need like 3 A stars and A, trying to go to Oxford, Cambridge, something like that, right? They're going to be nervous going in, and then it's like if something goes wrong, they're not going to be happy about that afterwards, right? When you're going into do a degree apprenticeship, the grades are much lower, okay? A lot of degree apprenticeships have grades of like BBC or a couple of Bs and a C. The highest grades for degree apprenticeship I've seen is 3 As. But it's never an A star or anything like that. It's 3 A's. But a lot of them, to be honest, are a couple of B's and a C, that sort of thing. So it honestly means you can go into the exams with less pressure, because you need a couple of B's and a C. Everyone else needs a couple of A stars. Right, okay, so that's what's really, really great about the degree apprenticeship application process. Grades don't matter as much. You just need to make sure you get the minimum, okay? But that's step 5. Once you've got your degree apprenticeship offer in sort of the March time, focus on your A-level revision. Just get over the line, basically. Get over the line to get that degree apprenticeship. So I know a guy who got an offer from PwC to do a degree apprenticeship, and he ended up not getting the grades, and so he had to go to university. So it's like you can put in all this effort, do the work experience, do the online courses, get through the application process, do really well in interviews, do well in your group exercise, do well in your psychometric testing, But then if you don't get the grades, you've just thrown it all away. Okay, so it's like this is the final hurdle. You don't want to fall off at the final hurdle. Make sure you get those grades. Okay, and there we go. Those are the 5 steps that you're going to be following over the next sort of 1.5, 2 years as a year 12, and then obviously as a year 13 to get a degree apprenticeship. I've just put this into a nice little visual representation of it. These are sort of the steps you're going to follow. Obviously doing the shadow, which you're going to do now, then it's basically start revising seriously March and April, so those year 12 mocks, you're going to get the good grades. That means you're going to have loads of time in your summer to do that checklist, do things like work experience, courses, and make yourself a really good candidate. Then in about October/November of year 13, you're going to start applying to these companies, and usually you're going to get an offer, especially if you've been practicing and applying to a couple of companies. You can usually get an offer in February to April sort of time. Then you can focus on your A-levels, which is the last thing you need to do. You just need to achieve those grades, sit them in May and June, and then there you go. You'll have a couple of summers, a couple of months more of a summer holiday, and then in September 2026 for you it will be, you'll then be starting your degree apprenticeship. Okay, so just got a bonus step now for those serious about getting to degree apprenticeships. Okay, so that previous roadmap is what I'd recommend for a lot of people, and then this is just like a bonus as well. So what I'd actually recommend is you can actually do like another sort of block of like Maximise here. So obviously this Maximise, as I explained there, that's in your year 12 summer, making sure you're doing lots of work experience, online courses, getting lots of experience. Great. You can also actually do that now, okay, because this shadow stage isn't too intensive. Okay, you just need to make sure you're checking what's going on with degree apprenticeships, checking which different companies, seeing at the job descriptions, okay, what do I need to do over the next year, that sort of thing. You can also at the same time do a couple of online courses, do some work experience, write your CV, write your cover letter. Okay, especially now, like when you're just starting year 12 now, it's not going to pick up that much in September, October, November, right? Not much is going to be going on really. So in the first couple of months, it's a great opportunity if you utilize it to basically get the ball rolling, get a couple of work experience going, get a couple of online courses going in your year 12. Okay, so that's what I'd recommend for people who are serious, because it means then if you got the experience from here and the experience from here, by the time you come to apply, you can have loads of experience because you've done loads of stuff in year 12, you've done loads of stuff in year 13 as well. So a couple of like sort of things I did during like February of year 12, okay, which you could sort of like class B in here, which I ended up like mentioning in my application. It was really good experience. I wouldn't have had time to have it all during this phase. So because I'd actually done stuff here, I was like making my CV from like October of year 12 and getting feedback on it from October, November, December. So that's what I'd recommend for those who are really serious and you really want to get into a degree apprenticeship. You can use that Notion checklist from before, or like here's another one just specifically for the first 6 months of year 12. Definitely at minimum, I'd be recommend getting at least one virtual work experience, getting at least one massive open online course done, and writing a draft CV as well. So just one final plug. If you are going to write your CV, then I do a CV analysis service where basically you just send me your CV and I give you my feedback. Here's someone else who's in year 12 who has sent me their CV and cover letter. I give them the feedback and they can go and improve. And it means she's got a really, really good CV and really good cover letter for when she comes to apply a bit later in the year. Okay. So there we go. Those are the 5 steps for you in year 12 and year 13 for getting a degree apprenticeship, if you know that's the route you want to go down. Thanks for watching. I hope today's video has been really helpful for you. If you have got value from today's video, then feel free to click this button on the left and subscribe. And if you want to watch another video from me, you can click there on the right. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.